So last week we were here talking about Divrei Torah, about Devar Torahs, and asking the question, should they be silly or should they be serious? And the answer, of course, is they should be both. They need to be both because they're about life. And life is both silly and serious. I've been thinking about that a lot over the past week, both because of things going on, of course, in the world, but also about this particular time of year on the Jewish calendar. Now, today on the Jewish calendar is the 16th of Tammuz, which of course means that tomorrow is the 17th of Tammuz, the first day of the period known as the 3 weeks. Now, this is not a particularly glamorous time on the Jewish calendar. This is not something that lends itself easily to being talked about, and there are a few reasons for this. Now, first, it's the summertime. Summertime is not traditionally the most popular time of year to go to shul. Look at us here defying the odds. We're all here. We've got a full house, and it's been great, especially these past few weeks. And second, the summertime is a time that we usually have fun. We do things for fun that we don't usually do other times of the year. We take time away from school and work. We go to camp. We go on vacations. The time in the summer is precious and special and something to celebrate. But during the 3 weeks, it's our custom to not have fun. It's our custom to not go to concerts or public celebrations. It's our custom to not have Jewish weddings. And people, don't usually respond that enthusiastically to restrictions on fun, especially during a fun time of year. And third, the 3 weeks are a time when we remember ancient Jerusalem and the destruction of the temple, our Beit HaMikdash, our holy temple in ancient times. And so this sometimes brings up questions for people like, why do we still care about this? It happened a long time ago. Why do we still care about this when we have a modern state of Israel? And so this is the period that we're starting tomorrow, this 3-week summertime period, the 3 weeks when we take a break from fun. It starts with a fast day, the fast of the 17th of Tammuz tomorrow, and it ends with a fast day, the fast of the 9th of Av, that is Tisha B'Av. But today, we read Parashat Balak, the one with the talking donkey, the one that contains what may be the only comic passage found in Torah, says our Eitz Chaim commentary. It turns out that we always read Parashat Balak right before the 3 weeks begin. We always have this moment of humor before we turn towards sadness. And that might lead us to ask, what's the point of humor in the context of this particular time on the Jewish calendar? How can humor help us, or can humor help us at all? So we have this teaching in the Talmud, Masechet Shabbat, page 30b. Rav Yehuda says, a person should be joyful before stating a matter of halacha. That is, a person should be joyful before engaging in the act of learning Torah. And the Stama de Gemara, the anonymous narrator of the Talmud, responds, wait a minute, is that really true? Didn't Rav Giddel say, any scholar who sits before his teacher and his lips are not dripping with bitterness, those lips should be burnt? Dramatic as ever, the Talmud is encouraging us to consider, should we be joyful when we learn Torah, or should we be serious? The Talmud continues and, of course, resolves the disagreement, saying, before the teaching really begins, we must be joyful, but as the teaching continues, we must be serious. We must take things seriously, lest we make a mistake, and that mistake lead us to mistakes in our observance of mitzvot. And the Talmud gives an example. It's like the way that Rabbi, a great Torah scholar, would teach. Before he started his teaching, he would say something humorous, and it would fill his students with cheer. And then afterwards, he would be serious and he would begin teaching. Humor opens us up. It moves our hearts to a different place, and that helps our minds be nimble, flexible, and open to new learning, to seeing things a new way for the first time. And seriousness, refraining from fun, helps us be careful. It helps us remember that there is, in fact, such thing as making a mistake, and it helps us remember that we want to prevent mistakes when we're able to do so. Now, here's another teaching from the Talmud about the power and value of humor. This one's from Masechet Ta'anit, page 22a. Rabbi Broka Hosea would often spend time in the shuk, in the marketplace. And when he was there, Elijah the prophet would appear to him. So together they'd sit and they'd people watch. They'd scan the crowd. Rabbi Broka Hosea once said to Elijah the prophet, is there anyone here in this market who's really worthy of the world to come? That is, anyone in this marketplace, are they so righteous they will be richly rewarded once they make it past this lifetime to the heavenly realms? And Elijah the prophet says, nah. So they kept people watching, and eventually Elijah the prophet said, see those two brothers over there? The two of them, they have a share in the world to come. So Rabbi Baruch Hosea went eagerly up to them and asked them, so what do you guys do for a living? And they said to him, we are jesters. We bring cheer to those who are sad. And when we see two people who have a quarrel between them, we strive to make peace. Our Sepharia translation commentary on this Gemara explains, this is the type of job that can earn you a living in this world, while also simultaneously earning you a reward in the world to come. These brothers are jesters, but they're also peacemakers. Their facility with humor, with changing people's mood and perspectives, gives them the ability to resolve quarrels, to get two grumpy parties in a dispute to understand their situation differently, so they're able to find a path forward through their conflict. Or, as Esha Torah teaches, laughter is serious business. Esha Torah has published a list of 48 ways to wisdom. Way number 21 is laughter. They teach that laughter is an integral part of emotional health. If you know a good joke, or if you have the comical sense to see the absurdity in everyday life, all of a sudden you can go from frowning to smiling, and you can parlay that positive energy into movement, growth, and power for something meaningful you need to do. So we see that humor, that laughter can be a powerful source of energy. It can move us from a place where we are to a place where we need to be. So back to our parasha and back to this time of year on the Jewish calendar. We have the humor in Parashat Balak. So where's the place we're starting from as we read this parasha, and where's the place we need to move to? We're in the peak of summertime. We barely remember the holiday of Shavuot, the celebration of the first fruits of our harvest, the celebration of the receiving of our Torah, which happened just over a month ago. We've been so busy going from school to camp to vacation, too busy making the most of these long and fruitful days, to remember much at all outside our immediate moment. This time of year, it's not easy to remember, and it's not really easy to think about the days getting shorter, the harvest coming to a close, the quiet hibernation of the winter months. The humor in Parashat Balak can move us to consider not just the time of the 3 weeks that are about to come up, this time where we abstain from fun and remember that things can get serious. It can also move us to start considering the 7-week period after that, the weeks of our special Haftorahs of comfort, the time on the Jewish calendar that teaches us to make the most of our remaining summertime, and indeed to make the most of every moment. This is the time on our calendar when we learn how to get out of the seriousness of the 3 weeks and the sadness of Tisha B'Av to only 9 days later, the joy of Tu B'Av, our summertime holiday of love. We learn that love brings us hope, that love brings us new possibility, that love is a force of creation even after things have looked bleak. We start to remember that no matter what has happened to us in the past, we have the ability and we have the strength to become renewed. So today's our parsha of donkeys, today's our day of laughter. And when night falls and Shabbos ends, we'll begin a new moment, a different moment, a moment when we remember that sometimes things are serious. Sometimes it is fitting to have bitterness on our lips, as we learn from the story in the Talmud. But through all these moments, we will be together. We will be together as we always are. We can be close to one another, to our families, to our own spirituality, and to our Jewish brothers and sisters everywhere around the globe. Through all these moments, from the peak of silliness to the peak of seriousness, we will always have community. Shabbat Shalom.